Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. Seems like I haven't been with you for a long time. And guess what? I haven't been with you for 3 weeks. That's like, what? Well, it just played that way. And that's because Carlos had the chocolate festival, so we had to change their regular schedule. And I understand that we have people who went, and it was fabulous. Yeah, so very exciting. Everybody's doing so much stuff. It's really that time of year. I'm kind of preparing for Easter in a different way this year. I'm giving it a Buddhist bent, a slight shift over to Buddhism. And so I'm talking this morning about a concept in Buddhism that is one of my favorites, not just because I'm married to John Mudd, but because of what it stands for. The lotus grows in mud. And it's a profound way to look at how to accept all of who we are. Last week in our mysticism class, the spiritual principle we all worked on was wholeness. And wholeness is a profound concept that I believe requires some spiritual maturity to get to. Earlier on in our spiritual progress, we're often pushed by the pain that we are in, whether we know it or not, whether we see it that way or not. Oftentimes there's something missing or lacking in our lives, some sort of pain we're in, that pushes us to change our lives. And one of the things we do is we seek spiritual depth, seek spiritual counsel, seek spiritual inspiration to elevate us. And so we're enamored by the lotus aspect, which is the flowering of our full, actualized, enlightened self, which is our higher self, our whole self, our whole self. I want to tell you a little story about lotuses. Early on in my spiritual practice, when I was but a 17-year-old gal, I had a guru. And you know, lotuses are something that Eastern gurus always talk about. There's the lotus of the heart, there's the lotus this, the lotus that. And so I thought, wow, in this pond in Los Angeles called Cslwh, there's a bunch of lotuses growing. And I thought, well, what the heck, I'm jumping in there and picking a few. Well, first off, you need to know they're like 18 feet tall. They're not lily pads. They're ginormous. A lotus leaf itself is probably 6 feet around, just about. So, of course, only a 17-year-old idiot would do this. But I did it. I jumped in there. And I'm in the mud to my waist. And it is the smelliest mud I have ever been. And it's squelch. But you know what? What the heck? I'm in this good thing, so, you know, chop down these lotuses, get back up on the edge, where my brother is waiting for me. You notice the 19-year-old did not jump in the mud. That's kind of the story of our adventures. So I get up there, don't have a change of clothes. We go to the temple and we offer these to our guru, who was absolutely stunned and loved it. Loved it. I didn't go to prostrate and offer them because obviously I'm a lucky mess. But since then, I've wondered about that. Why is the mud so odoriferous around the lotus? It's actually something that the lotus creates. Because other parts of Cslwh don't have waist-deep mud, and it's not real stinky like that. So here's what you need to know. The mud of your life, of course, is your own creation. Nobody wants to hear that. But it's exactly the compost you need to grow into your full, enlightened, beautiful, whole self. And so, knowing that, a lot of us want to get out of the mud shame and a blame on ourselves. All those parts of our personality, all those traits we have going on that we don't like, all those failures, interesting situations we get ourselves in, we want to get out of them. We push them aside. And that's exactly the mud we need to grow. So one of the things that we talk about in Science of Mind are the four states of consciousness. And the first state is victimhood. You could say that's the deep mud. That's the lowest layer we're often in, because that's our childhood. Things happen to us. We don't have that much agency as a child. We have to do what we're told, and we live in a certain condition. We can't just go, gee, Mom, I'm going to get another job and leave. You know, at 3 years old, you don't really have that choice. So, in a way, that's the victim part of our lives, and it's still alive inside of us. And our job is actually to love that part of ourselves, to witness it and to love it, and heal it. And then we come up to the second stage, which is binding. And I like to think of that as the 2-year-old or the teenager. No, I can do it myself. And you know what? We begin to realize that through using spiritual tools, we can affect a change in the world. In fact, there's a great deal of Science of Mind that is based on this. Change your thinking, change your life. Ernest Holmes. And so we work to change our thinking. We look at the situations in our lives. We look at our relationships that might need repair. We look at our financial situation that may reflect our sense of worthlessness and lack of limitation. We look at our health. We look at all these portions of our lives and we say, okay, I got the tools now, I know what to do, and I'm gonna take care of it. Oh, and some of us get really good at that, but we haven't let go of the shaming and the blaming. And how do you know that happens? Because when you run into somebody who's deep in the binding aspect of consciousness, they will be happy to tell you exactly what you need to do in life. Because that's what they're doing to themselves. Oh, you got a sore throat? What are you afraid to speak up about? You know, and that may be true or not true. It's often unsolicited advice, so most of us don't particularly enjoy that when that happens, even, especially if they're right. You know what I mean? There's nothing more unforgivable than when they're right. And then something happens along the way. Sometimes one of the things that happens is a profound spiritual experience in the middle of your to-me, this doing it myself, using my spiritual tools. We have an extraordinary experience of the presence of God, the presence of Source. And it blows our minds, and it's beyond our personality, and it's beyond the little I that we are. And we begin to surrender and let go. And sometimes, and that's the third state of consciousness, it's called through me. We begin to open wide and allow life to move through us, to allow that Source to move through us, because actually the Source brings to us better than we could ask for, much better. How many times have you wished and hoped and prayed and done all your treatment work and your intentions for something, you got it, and it turned out not to be so great? When I surrendered and let go, life brought to me even better than I could have hoped for, even better than I imagined. Sometimes the way to that through me stage, that surrender stage, is through trauma. In fact, that's probably more often. Somebody dies. One of our kids gets a severe drug addiction or a health issue. There's a divorce. Something happens that is not what we want, and it crushes us, and we realize it's out of our control, and we can't help but we surrender. Now, I want you to know when this happened to me, I was pretty angry at God for some time. Nevertheless, had to surrender. And it took years. But in that process, in that surrender, something happens when we accept all the components of what happened. We accept all the players in our drama, and we begin to see that it was for our best and highest good all along, though at the time it was excruciating and the last thing we wanted. And that's the true me stage. And so really when I think of the lotus grows in the mud, the message it gives me today is straddling that line between by me and through me. By me is when do I need to take action on my own and take care of business, and when do I need to surrender? When do I need to let go and trust that infinite source and know that it's good and very good and absolute perfection is unfolding? So when is that? I like to reference the Serenity Prayer for that one. They say it so clearly. Grant me the serenity to know what I can change and to let go and have the wisdom to know what I can't change. That's a great prayer. I just messed up the Serenity Prayer. This is a long copy. It's true, because that's one of the things that will also get you into surrender, your addictions. You know, one of the things we discover is that we're in a lot of pain somewhere, psychically and emotionally at a deep level. And we have to surrender. And we have to take the benefit of other people's progress and listen to them and work. But there has to be a willingness. So for all of those of us that don't know when is it mine to do and when is it mine to trust, here's a clue. If it's happening to somebody else, it's not yours. That's usually the clue. Now here's the weird thing that happens along the way. Our own personality is somebody else. In a weird way, this is true. We have a personality structure, and it's conditioned and built on the belief systems and the reactions we've had to growing up. And we think that's who we are, and it's laminated to us so closely that we can't see it. And that's why I love the movie The Matrix. Because we're all in the Matrix. This is a simulation. This is not reality. We are taking the pure energy of life and translating it into individuals and chairs and plants and microphones, and we're interacting with it. And we think it's real. And especially those things are real that are the problems we've just made up. And then just like Neo in the Matrix, we run into somebody, somewhere, sitting there in a lotus posture going, the spoon isn't real. And we're like, oh, what? Yeah, there's that moment where the kid the spoon bends totally. He goes, how'd you do that? He goes, the spoon is not real. It takes a lot to get there. Takes a lot but that's the truth. And so we've bought into this separation. We've bought into these situations we're in, and we make them really real with our resistance. That's the number one. You want to solidify an issue in your life? Get into resistance over it. That'll do it. It's now, therefore, like a monument. How do we overcome that resistance? That's that part of us that needs to practice a little reflection. There's some wonderful spiritual tools for reflection. And here's what I suggest. This is what I use. This is how it works for me. When something is causing me pain, that means that there is a reality I'm not accepting. I want it to be different than it is. That's my first clue. under resistance. So now I have to take a deep breath and do some reflections. And I love to do inventories one more time. There's mine past. They work. And I look at what's the history of this issue. Oh my goodness. I've got a huge history with it and how it's worked in my life. It's like when you're out there weeding and you pull up that type of grass that's connected to everything. It's like your entire lawn goes away and you just pull one up. Same thing with our issue. You see, you begin to do some self-reflection and you go, oh, there it is. And you tug on it and you see all the ramifications of where that particular trait shows up in your life. So you do some reflection on that and you will often get down to the bottom of it. Now, I said you do some reflection. Since we're totally fooled by this entire matrix situation, we can't see ourselves 90% of the time. We need somebody else. I suggest a coach, practitioner, therapist, your minister, a support group. In fact, all of them. That's what I did. I went with all of them. I limited myself. Let's go for it. So you go for it, and they begin to help you get the feedback you need to really see and delaminate this off of you. And there's often something at the bottom of it. It's simple. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. Something like that. Is that simple? And it's like when you grab a hold of that, every single piece of the lawn comes up on it. And you realize you planted your entire yard out of that issue. I'm going to compensate for it. I'm going to make up for it. I'm going to keep achieving out of it. Buy more. I'm going to eat more. In my case, I'm going to, it doesn't matter what your addiction is. It's covering over the pain we're in. And so here's where I agree with Carl Jung. Totally. He said neurosis is compensating for the pain you're in. You find a substitute to make up for it and you overcompensate. So instead, this is also a principle in retail marketing, take the first loss. So what's take the first loss in that sense? They put something on sale that's a loss leader. For us personally, feel the pain. Allow yourself. Take it in small sips. Take it in small bites. Or if you're like me, just wallow in it. Go for it. And get down in there. And feel that. And you know what? It transmutes. I guarantee you. It transmutes. Let's say you have a migraine headache. How many people have ever had a migraine headache? It's one of the worst pains physically that you can have, honestly. And I remember I had one of these coaches say to me, because I wasn't willing to do any of the incredible drugs that they give you to fix that. Well, just concentrate on the pain. What? I'm throwing up, I'm in agony, I can't be in the light at all. Well, that's great. Close your eyes. What shape is your pain? What color is your pain? What temperature is your pain? What size is it? I kept that up for 20 minutes and it completely disappeared. Stunning. Stunning. Same thing happens with the emotional psychic pain. Be willing to feel it and get right up into it and be friends with it. And if at the bottom of it is a little kid who's frightened and doesn't feel loved and safe, doesn't feel like it's seen or noted, well, what would you do if you had a beloved child like that? Wouldn't you hold them? Wouldn't you love them? Aren't you worth that? So you start doing that to yourself every chance you get. You wake up grumpy one morning, you're having a bad day. You don't know why. Heck, I have a feeling it's because your number's up. It's time. This pain has decided we're going to present ourselves. And so take a moment and sit down with it. and see what's at the bottom of it. Spend some time with it. And now we can begin to use our tools. Because we're not running away from anything. We're accepting, we're loving, we're embracing. And we begin to call in that higher power. We begin to remember there's only one here. There is one source. There is one life. And it is wholly good. It's good without an opposite. It's love without an opposite. It's one without an other. There is no duality in the presence of God, in the source. And we call that in and we remember that's our main tool. And it immediately, when we're down at the level we can really feel it, begins to feel the truth. The truth of the matter is, we were never worthless. We were never unloved. Maybe the people in our lives who were our caretakers could not be loving, but the universe loved us, and we're wholly lovable no matter what. And we remember that, we begin to feel that, we become ready to accept the loving presence, and it moves in, and we begin to experience the blooming of our whole self. Because it's safe to be who you are. It's safe for you to allow yourself to heal. And so that's how the lotus grows in the mud. And that's also how you defeat the matrix. Johnny's got this down. He just takes it. He's like, oh, whatever. And that's why he's my teacher. So this for me is the real key. And so what I'd like to do is a closed-eye process with you to kind of anchor this in. So I'm going to invite you to sit back and close your eyes, and I'm going to sit down. And just breathe into your belly, down into your belly. And as you do that, you begin to hear the wind outside and the bird song, while at the same time feeling any discomfort or ease or anything that your body is feeling right now. Just tune into that. And bring to mind any issue or problem or obstacle you're experiencing right now in your life. It can be very minor. It can be major. The truth of the matter is there is no big or little in God, in presence. Bring that issue, that trouble to mind. And just breathe in and breathe out. And as you see that situation or feeling in your mind's eye, allow it to be present. Sometimes like the wind beating on the door. Knock, knock, knock. And just breathe that in. Knowing that you are safe and you are sourced by an infinite supply. Infinite supply. So if your issue is financial in any way, you can feel that inside the lack, maybe fear, And I invite you to breathe into that, gently holding it and allowing it. Being gentle and loving with yourself. You have done nothing wrong. Just breathe that in. And know that you are sourced by the very presence of the universe. You are this one presence, and you have created the entire cosmos. For that one source has made every star, every planet, every nova, everything in the galaxy and in the universe is created out of this one source. Breathe that in, that infinite abundance. No overwhelming creation, creativity. And as you breathe that in, allow that to dissolve any situation that is financially concerning in this moment. And if underneath that, you have a health concern, allow yourself to sense that, to feel that. This body is a miracle machine created out of the infinite source of life itself. So I invite you to breathe into this situation, whatever it is in your body, acknowledging and accepting. And now see, sense, and know that everything you need to heal perfectly and wholly and completely is available easily right now. And breathe that in. All the resources you could possibly need are available now, right now. And as you take in a breath, imagine that this mighty power of all resources is moving through your blood, feeding every cell in your body, rejuvenating you from the inside out, knitting up, making whole. And just breathe that in and out. And if there is a sense of loneliness or concern in relationships with spouses, lovers, friends, parents, children, grandchildren, neighbors, co-workers, just see that pattern relax around you, accepting it. And know that it is love itself that has created all that is. It is the impulse of creation. It is the fire. It is the source. It is the impulsion of love itself that moves through the entire universe and says yes. Yes, even to every difficulty and obstacle we can imagine. And so breathing in anything wounded or sad or lonely or angry or frustrated, we just accept it. And know that love is our truth. Love is our reality. It is who we are. So we breathe that in and see our difficulty dissolving into love itself. And then moving our awareness into our heart. You know, put your hand on your heart if you need to know where that is. Just breathe into your heart. And know that this infinite divine source, the one presence, is the one who sees behind your eyes, who hears within the words, who feels within the feeling, who is the witness of every experience. And that presence, that source is right here in your heart. And it is love itself. It is the most worthwhile, a diamond, a treasure, pure gold. This is the essence of your being. Allow yourself to breathe in a powerful awareness of your worth. Pure gold and diamonds. You are the beloved. You are the one without a second. The one that resides within the entire creation, mirroring back to you. Love, love, love. So as you breathe that in, as Gail said earlier in her prayer, there is nothing impossible. There is nothing beyond you, for you are all that is. You are the one. And each obstacle, each situation is like a step ladder. And each one leads you higher and closer to the fullness of your whole being, the lotus of pure spirit, pure awareness, your beingness in full blossom. As you take that in, breathe that awareness into every cell of your body now. Anchoring it down into your feet, your oneness with this source, your acceptance of all parts of yourself as facets of the jewel that you are. You feel that in your feet. Imagine you walking forward into your life with this awareness, reaching out and seeing this in everyone you meet. So taking a deep breath, I invite you to bring your awareness back into your back, back into your feet, opening your eyes gently, bringing this awareness fully, completely, Holding hands and feet. When you come back, don't be afraid